All right, everybody. Welcome to the second edition of Beyond the Whistle. So, a lot of drama going on in Pittsburgh. A lot. It's really awesome, actually. Drama with the Steelers. Drama with the Pirates. Drama with Pitt basketball. A lot going on. So, first, I'm not gonna address the Steelers situation tonight. Mike Tomlin will be back. I think we can all bet on that. Coach Tomlin. I took some notes down on good old Coach Tomlin. Coach Tomlin's 116-60. Career. This is including postseason. He's 124-66. Granted, 8-6 in the postseason isn't getting it done. His quote is standard is the standard. But I like to think that Coach Tomlin's going to be back. He's won a lot of games here. Whole team pretty much should be back next year. I think they'll be fine there. So I'll address that another time, but we're not going to address that right now. I want to bring up the Pirates, and then obviously the attention tonight will be on Pitt basketball. They play Syracuse tonight at 9 o'clock. Great rival. A very good buddy of mine, Pete Calandra, is from the Syracuse area, so I know he'll be watching, so I want to give Pete a shout-out real quick. A shout-out to Rome, New York. But getting to the Pirates, Neil Huntington was on the Fan today with Starkey and Muller. He had a lot of things to say. My whole thing is, and I'm sure a lot of you guys and girls feel the same way, is he refuses to use the word rebuild. All right. So this is now becoming a fight between the city of Pittsburgh and the Pirates upper management. He won't use the word rebuild, and he had the nerve to say today that this trade with Garrett Cole and the three prospects from the Astros was a great deal for the Pirates. That's absolutely baloney. That was not a good deal. Okay? Yeah, he says, we had 3 top 100 prospects. Good. Good for you. Great. Great. And you also got rid of your ace for 3 prospects. Please name me another organization that's getting rid of their 3 top guys, or excuse me, their ace for 3 prospects. Name me an organization that's doing that. You and Bob Nutting always want to lie to us and tell us that we're about winning now. We're about winning World Series now. That's got to stop. The city's had it. We've had it with the lies. We had it with we're all about winning now. There is no winning now. There is no winning now. It's doing whatever it takes to put money in the pockets of management and the owner. If we were so concerned about winning, we would have got a couple guys, a couple pieces to help this team win this year. Instead, you get rid of your best 2 players for prospects. And you and the owner have the nerve to say to the fans that you understand our frustrations. You don't understand the frustrations of the fans. You do not. We're the ones paying $100+ to go to games every year now. We're the ones who are always seeing a bad product. And you have the nerve to tell us that you care about winning and that you're about winning a World Series? And Neil Huntington, this is really scary, is the GM and has the nerve to say that getting rid of Garrett Cole was best for the organization. That's a problem. That's a big problem. 3 years ago winning 98 games, and now look where they're at. How do you explain that? A guy who I had a lot of respect for, and I want to thank him, I don't want to get crazy, Clint Hurdle. We've had a great run, and I appreciate everything you did as a manager. But how do you sit back and let them do this to you? You become a company guy now. You become a guy that is a company first, do what the boss says. And that's a problem. How do you explain to the media and these fans every single day that you won 98 games 3 years ago, and then here's where we're at now? And we wonder why fans are frustrated, but you understand our frustrations. You understand our frustrations, right? The trade deadline, when you make no moves, and you ask why we're frustrated. Why 2 years ago they were so eager to get rid of Francisco Liriano? I get it. His numbers were down. Wasn't having the greatest year. But it's a left-handed arm. It's a guy who's proven he's won here. But now I have to hear that we're about winning a World Series now. Bunch of baloney. And Andrew McCutchen, I believe his deal was only and please, everybody correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was 7 years, $65 million. Have him with another organization, he's making $100 million or more. And that's a fact. And he chose to stay here. For God's sake, he named his son Steele. How much more Pittsburgh can you get? I don't care if his numbers were down, and his numbers weren't down last year. He's batting .279. He had 28 and 88. So his numbers weren't down. The year before, he's batting .256. And he had in my opinion, he had a comeback year batting .279 with 28 home runs and 88 RBIs. And if you feel production-wise he isn't getting it done for your organization, you at least keep the guy. He's a locker room guy, a good guy. A guy who's my opinion, and some people might disagree, I think he's right up there with Clemente with the greatest Pirates of all time. He has to be. He has to be. I mean, he was the MVP. He carried a team in 13 all by himself. And that's just a fact. And that's just a fact. But I have to hear about we're winning. But no, excuse me. The GMs had the nerve to say today that, yeah, losing McCutchen, it's going to hurt us. Then why do it? Why not wait? Why are we in a rush to dump these guys? Let's be honest. It's a salary dump. It's a salary dump. That's like saying that the Detroit Tigers got better by dumping Verlander. And trust me, I have friends up in Detroit, and they'll tell you it's a salary dump. Getting rid of one of your best guys is not helping the organization in the best interest of the organization. We constantly go through this cycle every single year. We go through it every year. And I understand we're a small market. The Pittsburgh Pirates are a small market. But when you make it so blatant and obvious that you don't want to spend any money, that's when fans get upset. And Bob Nutting currently is in a bad spot. This organization is in a lot of trouble. The organization's in a lot of trouble. And I'm sorry, he might not do it, but Bob Nutting might have no choice but to sell this team. It's getting to that point. Fans have had it. Fans have absolutely had it with the Pirates. And I'll leave it at that there. On to Pitt basketball now. So I was doing some good old research here today on Kevin Stallings. And I just want to come out and say I didn't play in the ACC. I didn't play in the Big East. I didn't play in the MAC. I played Division II basketball. But I had a pretty good high school career. collegiately, not where I wanted to be, but I know a little bit about the game. So, looking at Kevin Stallings' record today, Vanderbilt, he was 332 and 220. Went to 6 NCAA tournaments. Pretty impressive, right? I think so. I was like, okay. I have to lay off Coach Stallings a little bit. But then I take a look at his conference record, and that's where I laugh a little bit. His conference record at Vanderbilt was 138 and 142. That's a 49% winning percentage in the SEC. And that's not one of the top conferences, in my opinion, in college basketball. Okay? At Pitt, he's currently 24 and 26 and 4 and 18 in conference play. When's the last time Pitt's been 4 and 18 in conference play? Probably maybe the 80s, 90s. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't even fathom even look that information up. 4 and 18 in conference play. And I'll give him last year. He inherited Jamie Dixon's guys. I'm sure a lot of guys weren't sold or weren't on board with him. I get that. But 138, 142, and that was their best hire at the time? So I dug a little more research, and a couple guys that recruited me, and this might be a little controversial, but the first guy, Keith Dambrot, he came to my head immediately. Coach Dambrot recruited me a little bit at Akron, recruited Zeke Marshall. Chris Klimchuk went for a visit too as well. All three of us went together to visit Coach Dambrot. I met Gloria James, LeBron James' mom. If people don't know, Keith Dambrot is very close with the James family, with LeBron, Coach LeBron, St. Vincent, St. Mary's in Akron, Ohio. So there's that connection there. Coach Dambrot at Akron, 305 and 139. 69% winning percentage at Akron. That's pretty impressive. In conference, he was 155 and 65. That's 71% winning percentage. 4 NCAA tournaments. That's a guy I thought I should have got a look for the University of Pittsburgh basketball job. Well respected. Look what he's doing in Duquesne right now. He's doing a nice job. I'd like to see him in a couple NCAA tournaments at Duquesne, if not more. Coach Dambrot was a guy that came to my head immediately that I thought should have got a look. Established coach, had a long tenure at Akron, won a lot of games. Another guy I thought, but here's where the issue comes into play. Another guy I thought is Andy Toole. Maybe he's not ready for the Pitt level, but I definitely think Andy Toole deserves a job in the MAC, or if not, around that level, mid-major level. He was 141. He's currently 141 and 113 at Rob Morris. 83 and 42 in the conference, in the NEC, Northeast Conference, and one NCAA tournament. That's a guy I'd like to see get a mid-major job and do good things. When I was getting recruited by Coach Toole, me and him talk weekly. I have a lot of respect for him. Fiery guy, passionate guy, 37 years old, young guy, hungry coach. Continues to win around more. He's had a few down years, but that's definitely a guy I like to see do some things. Now here's where it gets interesting. Jamie Dixon. Jamie Dixon at Pitt, all right? 328 and 123. Conference 143 and 81. Was it maybe premature to get rid of Coach Dixon, or for Coach Dixon, to part ways, as we say? I'm not sure. But his last 3 years in the ACC, his 3 years in the ACC, he finished 5th, 9th, and 9th. I think it was time to part ways. I don't think Coach Dixon was a good fit here in the ACC. And we see Coach Dixon at TCU. They're currently 1-4, but he did a hell of a job here at Pitt. It's hard to hate on him. Pitt was a powerhouse because of him. Peterson, you could arguably say the Peterson Event Center. He's one of the reasons why it's here as well, Ben Howland. So shout out to both of them. But a guy I thought that Pitt really screwed up on, And granted, Heather Lau's the new AD. This wasn't her hire, Kevin Stallings, but it was Scott Barnes. Good old Scotty Barnes. Huh. You had a guy in Archie Miller who went 139 and 63 at Dayton, and I believe a 68 and 34 conference record. Hometown kid, went to Blackhawk High School, I believe. Why was he not the first guy to be contacted here? Why was he not? Why? He won at Dayton, was in multiple tournaments. Why did he not get a look? I'm just curious as to that. It blows my mind. So now, unfortunately, Pitt is stuck with Kevin Stallings, and you can't fire him. If you do, you're owing him $10 million. And historically, Pitt is not going to take buyouts. That's not who they are. They're not LSU. They're not a big-time program that's going to do that. So unfortunately, this is what Pitt's stuck with. And I get it. They're starting 5 freshmen. I understand. It's all his guys. It's new. I'm going to give him this year. I'm going to give him next year. But 4-18 in conference play is not cutting it. And unfortunately, the Pitt brand of basketball went from powerhouse to now back where they were in the 90s. You're starting from scratch. The fan base didn't want him. I mean, his reputation is not the greatest. I mean, we all know what he did. We all know he did at Louisville when fans were heckling him. I mean, and you're supposed to be a leader of men. You can't act that way, especially when you're getting your butt beat by 20. Pretty much you're losing by 15 to 20 consistently. It can't happen. It can't happen. I just don't understand it. They don't run an offense. And I watched their game against Georgia Tech. I watched a little bit against Duke. They don't run an offense. And anybody who's knows anything about basketball in the game of basketball, they don't even run a secondary break. That's basic junior high. You learn a secondary break in 8th grade, if not earlier. They don't even run that. It's like watching an AAU basketball game out there. That's the problem I have. I get they're young. They are freshmen. But there's no organization out there. And that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a major problem. They're just rolling the ball in the court every night, losing by 20. 15 to 20. You can't. The problem I have is you can't be down 21 to 1 and 25 to 5. That can't happen. That's just flat out not having your team ready to play. Or that's guys not wanting to play for you. It's one of the two. It's pretty simple. I mean, I played the game. If we're down every night if we're down 25 to 5 or 21 to 1, we're not ready to play. That's just not being ready to play. Especially when I'm running a set, that's just bad. Just playing AAU basketball out there is not going to get it done at the ACC level. And you're not getting the caliber guys that Duke are, that North Carolina are. And I'm sorry, the most underrated coach in college basketball to me is Mike Brey. I mean, that guy just wins games and gets no love. And gets none. Heather Lau needs to make some decisions as the athletic director of Pitt. She needs to stop smiling all the time. Stop being so happy. Tweeting, Pitt is lit. Pitt is it. She needs to be tweeting, we need to win some games. At the end of the day, this is a business. He's making $2.1 million. Guess what Sean Miller's making in Arizona? Sean Miller's making $2.3 million. But Sean Miller's winning games. That's the difference. Sean Miller's winning games. He's getting guys. I'm tired of hearing about the freshman excuse. Today's day and age of college basketball, guys are 1 and done or 2 and done. That's just a fact. You're not going to have guys, it's going to be rare anymore, guys staying 3-4 years. Guys are going to be 1 and done, 2 and done. If you're making $2.1 million a year, you got to win games. And the athletic director at the University of Pittsburgh has to start asking some questions and put her foot down and put her stamp down. She's too quiet for me. She needs to take control of that program. And Kevin Stallings needs to win some games. Period. End of story. Pitt is at Syracuse tonight. 9 o'clock game, as I was saying earlier. Big game. I'm just going to come out and make a prediction. I don't think Pitt's going to win a conference game. I don't think Pitt's going to win a conference game this year. I really don't. I do not see Pitt winning a conference basketball game this year. I do not. And if Kevin Stallings does not win next year, he has to win at least 17 to 19 games, in my opinion, to keep his job. His buyout might be $10 million. Well, you know what? You might need to do that. I just fear anymore that these hirings at Pitt are just not going to be good. And I've been getting told that the program will be set back if you fire him, if you get rid of him, you're set your program back. I mean, when you're 4-18 in 2 years, you're setting your program back. Unfortunately, when coaches are making $2 million or more, winning is now. There is no patience for rebuild. This is a total breakdown of rebuild, but there's no patience for a rebuild. And I know this is different levels, but my father had to rebuild in North Hills. In his third year, he went to the semifinals. And that still was, people were shaking their heads. Nobody wants to rebuild. And I get it, you got to be patient, it takes time. But these guys are making a lot of money. And we've seen it. And I do not want to get off topic, but Les Miles and LSU is a prime example. Won 9, 10, 11 games a year. And they fired him. He's making all this money. I don't feel sorry one bit for these coaches. Kevin Stallings needs to figure it out next year and win 17 to 19 games to save his job. If not, he needs to go. And the athletic director needs to get, I don't know, she needs to get a firm or whatever she has to do. A lot of these ADs are getting firms now. But she needs to get somebody in here that's going to win, and that's going to win now. Period. End of story. And that's all I have for tonight, guys. All right? We got, like I said, we got Pitt and Syracuse tonight. It'll be interesting to see how Pitt comes out. I got Syracuse winning by 15 tonight. Syracuse too athletic, too long. They really don't have one score. They just got a lot of tall, long, lengthy guys that are going to give Pitt a lot of problems tonight. But that's all I have, guys. I'll be back on the air this weekend. Stay warm. It's going to be cold tomorrow. Be safe. Be safe if you're out on the roads tonight. And have a great rest of your night, all right? God bless.